Welcome back to Muscle TV, and today, once again, we are going in the archives, Muscle TV vault. Scotty and I have picked out some of our favourite Muscle TV episodes, and we've got a special one today, Scotty. We've got the late, great Luke Wood on here. Now, I trained a giant set with Luke doing shoulders, and for me, I came full circle on this video because Luke was the first person I actually saw on Muscle TV for Series 1 back when I was a young nobody in the bodybuilding world. And then to do a session with him, for me personally, it was quite a memorable moment, and we topped it off with a monster workout.
Mate, you did. I'm sure I watched this one back in the day because I watched absolutely every Muscle TV episode there was. I don't actually recall it, so it was fun to go back and watch it again. And it's absolutely obscene, the amount of volume you guys did. And I guess I probably did watch it back then, and I probably wondered if it's really true that you train that way. Because, you know, I see Luke Wood and I'm like, man, this guy's overhead pressing 3 plates aside and doing, you know, dumbbell side laterals with 30 kilo dumbbells and all this sort of stuff. So it is a little bit comical to watch some of the weights you guys are lifting, but there's nothing funny about the volume at all.
No, and look, the video didn't really capture it, but it was a giant set. So it was all of those exercises back to back. And on the last exercise, we did a front and back shoulder press. So it was about 13 exercises. And Luke being Luke, we started at 10 reps, we went to 12 reps, 15 reps, and I think he wanted to do something crazy at the end, like 18 reps. So each set went for a good 6 or 7 minutes, and he absolutely destroyed us in the gym. It was a very memorable moment. Also, I couldn't help but notice that long rat's tail I had. What was I thinking? It was pretty damn long, but I was showing it off in the gym.
Yeah, you've had a few bad haircuts along the years there, Luke. But like, it was the pressing for me. There was a funny thing. I'm like, oh, all right, so they've got a dumbbell press, they've got a kettlebell press, they've got almost some sort of little clean and press. There's a lying press machine. And then there's the front and the back press. I've never seen so much shoulder pressing in my life, but it is pretty funny seeing you and Luke Wood, probably the guys with the 2 biggest shoulders in the country, banging out the, I don't know what they were, like 4 kilo purple kettlebells.
Yeah, they probably were.
And just the grimacing on your face as you do it as well. It's just like, man, I was honestly watching this just wincing, imagining what you go through, because I don't know, shoulder pumps and burns are pretty damn painful. It's one of those body parts that it feels like you've got a blowtorch on them if you're really going at it. And while, you know, a critic might look at it and say, oh man, the rep cadence here is a little bit fast and all this sort of stuff, there was never any rest. Like, there was constant tension, and yeah, it looked absolutely horrible. I think at one point you said you have been training like this with Luke for a number of years. Was every workout like that, seriously? Because I kind of have to feel like there was some bigger weights moved every now and then.
Not with Luke. If I went and did a training session with Luke at Squashlands, it was a giant set. Literally, the first session I did, he just got back from the US with Milos Sarkev, who we've had on the show, and he'd just done a couple of months there, and then he landed and he trained with me the next day, and we did 6 days straight of giant sets, every body part, and every time I went and visited him, it was a giant set, including 12 to 14 set leg workouts where it was just ridiculous. It really was. So every time I trained with Luke, it was always a giant set. I can absolutely promise you that it was. One question, Scotty, the old school Dohertys. I tell you what, I've got some memories, because that's how it used to be when I used to come down. It has changed, but they were good times in Doherty's gym back then, weren't they?
Yeah, it's funny for me looking back. I always hang out at Doherty's pretty much every day, and it's a very, very different gym. It was a bit smaller. Yeah, he's leased a bigger space since then. Yeah, it is a different environment, and I mean, I guess it's always been hardcore, but it was fun to see that, and it was fun to just be reminded of how big Luke Wood was and how massive his side delts are, because there's some of the movements where I'm just looking at it going, man, this dude was an animal, and he was just such a good bloke. Like, you can tell. Like, he's just articulate. Like, he's just a good bloke. And he not only does so much speaking in this, but it just reminds me of Luke. And he was such a positive presence within the Australian bodybuilding community, always willing to help people, and always very kind, like very, very kind to you. There was a particular quote about how you'll easily make the Olympia stage one day, which was kind of funny in hindsight, but at the same time, you can just see that he's all about uplifting others. He with no ego with that bloke.
And he wasn't even at his best then. This was after I think he'd pretty much wrapped up as a pro bodybuilder. So that's just how big he was. But look, this is a classic episode. It was one of the hardest sessions I ever had, and it was recorded. It's giant sets with myself and the late, great Luke Wood, MuscleTV Vault. If you're liking this content, don't forget, leave a thumbs up, give us a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.
Stuff in store for you folks. Let's meet our first training pair. The first of our training pairs tonight are no stranger to viewers of MuscleTV and are two big units we like to call Luke Senior and Luke Junior. Luke Senior is Big Luke Wood, 6 times Mr Australia, IFBB Pro and one of Australia's most successful bodybuilders for over a decade. Luke Junior is Luke SCHEMBRI. Luke's also won his share of national titles, including the 2007 and 2008 IFBB Heavyweight Mr Australia titles. The two Lukes are old mates, and tonight they show you a great workout that you might not expect from two blokes with rigs as big as theirs.
Today we're going to be doing a shoulders giant set routine, so it's very hard, very tough, very spending on the body. So basically I've set up a whole lot of exercises where there's going to be no rest in between. The weights are very light, but there's that taxing on the body because there's no rest between the exercises, so the weights will actually feel quite heavy, and it'll really test our cardiovascular. We'll just get some blood in here, warm up first, which is most important, because once we start we won't be stopping really.
12 exercises set up, doing about 3 or 4 different presses, 3 or 4 different side laterals and 3 or 4 different front lateral raises, so pretty much working the shoulders in every way possible.
We're trying to be bodybuilders, not powerlifters, so your body will respond and grow under the amount of intensity that you train it under. So you don't necessarily have to lift heavy weights, it's just the intensity that you train, okay, and pump that much blood, rip the muscle fibres down. That's what's going to make you grow. And all walks of, rugby league players, union, AFL, anyone can do this type of routine. Yeah. 10 minutes into it, you realise that you're doing something pretty hard, that it's much harder than just lifting a heavy weight, resting 5 minutes and then lifting a heavy weight again.
Yeah, no, it's a good routine. You can't pretty much get any more blood in the muscles, so by the end of it, you're just finished. It's a whole different routine of lifting heavy, and by the end of it, you're just spent.
At the end of 4 rounds, probably done close on 500 reps, I reckon. So probably been training for 25 years between the two of us. So definitely works.
Front raise.
Form goes out the window up in here. That's okay. Just get it up. Halfway home. Still not hard enough. We've got to give it to ourselves a little bit more. So, trying to not let the young bull catch me. But as you can see, he's overtaken me now. So, probably the best amateur bodybuilder in Australia, and has got the potential to be on a Mr. Olympia stage without a question. So it's actually a privilege and an honour for me to not only be his mate but to train with him too.
I've pretty much learned everything from Luke, so I take my hat off to him. 4 years ago, sort of met him, and it's been workouts like this that have sort of helped us each year just put on kilo after kilo. So I owe it all to Luke. He's shown me everything, and it's workouts exactly like this that we've been doing for the past 4 years, and this is pretty much a shoulder workout we've done, since I've met him. But it doesn't get any easier. It just is hard every time. Good way to grow. Pretty much push as much blood in there as you can and just burns unbelievable. So by about the second set, it's crazy. By the fourth, that's it. You already walk out of the gym, and that's a shoulder workout. So it's pretty intense. Whew. Lukey's a bit worse than me. Yeah, well, I'm older. His old age is catching up to us. Pretty much working the shoulders in every way possible.